This week's AEW Dynamite took place in Cincinnati, Ohio, and continued to build up for Forbidden Door on June 28th. The Owen Hart tournament continued this week with two more matches, one from the men's bracket and one for the women's. Sky Blue battled Maya Wild after Sari wasn't clear to compete, and Brody King faced Swerve Strickland in the main event. There was also a few other stuff on the card as well, such as Moxley defending his Continental title against Shane Taylor. STP has been showing up on AEW programming more often recently, and this week was the biggest opportunity any of them have had outside of Ring of Honor in quite some time. Both of these guys are versatile, but their brawling skills are what made them such ideal opponents. Taylor had more power behind his strikes, but Moxley's no slouch in this department. The champ retained a hard-fought battle, but STP had a last laugh. After Mox got the win, Taylor attacked him, and the rest of his stable kept the Death Riders from saving him. Putting these two stables together creates interesting possibilities, including a rematch between Garcia and Lee Moriarty for the Pure Championship at some point later in the show. Garcia challenged STP to a 5-on-5 street fight for this week's collision, so that should be fun. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on into Mark Briscoe against Pac. The Death Riders may have issues with Shane Taylor promotions, but they also got conglomerations to deal with leading to this match. An interesting mix of styles. Both guys are quick on their feet and can hit some stiff strikes, but the way they go about it can be more different. Pac's one of those guys who just looks to about every time he gets in the ring, and he made a great dance partner for the Chicken this week. Briscoe got the win, but that wasn't the end of his time on the show, calling out MJF and informed him that Tony Khan booked a 6-on-6 cage match, and if Briscoe's team win, he gets a shot, which should be an interesting match. I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. Moving on into the next match, which was Cassidy helping save Briscoe from an attack by the Lethal Swerve. He stayed in the ring so he could take on Andrade in the next match. Both work at a quick pace, and they're also very versatile, and they had no problem putting on a really fun match here without much hype behind it. Cassidy thrives against guys who are more powerful than him because it allows him to do a bunch of risky moves, and Alido used his strength to great success against him. The match combined mat wrestling, high finishing acts, and convenient moments to create what a really fun match. And Alido picked up as a clean win, which I was surprised about, but I still think it's pay-per-view worthy. 8 out of 10. Moving on into the Owen Hart tournament, with Blue against Maya, who was a last-minute replacement for Suri due to her not being cleared. The first half was a bit clunky, and the crowd was not giving them much energy to work with, but by the time they returned from the break, the fans who were getting into it, you could tell they were trying hard to make sure this was memorable, and the second half ended up being more entertaining. Maya was able to get the win and advance in the tournament, which definitely qualified an upset victory. The crowd behind her throughout the match, so they were stoked to get the dub. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on into this week's main event between Swerve Strickland and Brody King, who was facing off to see who would face Ospreay in the final of the Owen Hart tournament. As you would expect with these two, it's a very physical match. King was busted wide open near the end, and both men took some big bumps. They blended their respective styles of mayhem well to create a stellar match that had the crowd chanting and cheering from start to finish. Just an absolutely right spot for the main event. King may have lost, but it feels like he's still over. If Tony Khan is smart, he will put one of the singles titles in before the end of the year to capitalise on his popularity, giving him a big push. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, and overall I'm going to give Dynamite a 7 out of 10. This week's Dynamite was a great example of how to properly use time on the show to get as much out of it as possible. With only 5 matches on the card, it wasn't as packed as other episodes have been in the past, but it worked to the benefit because each bout felt important and was given time. OCV, LA and King v Strickland were the two best matches on the card, and choosing between them would be impossible because they were both great for different reasons. Forbidden Door is shaping up nicely to be a strong card, especially with the addiction of Strickland v Ospreay. AEW's gotten better about tying Dynamite to the event to collision as well, and the Death Riders versus STP Street Fight was booked on Wednesday for Saturday's show, and that should be tons of fun as well. So yeah, 7 out of 10. So that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.